record? We're recording to the computer, not the cloud. Okay, so your vision. Do you have a clear vision? I like this quote from the 12-week year. If you don't know where you're going, you're going to end up someplace else, right? Like we have to have a roadmap to where we're headed. So Sam and I are reading the 12-week year, but we're also doing a direct sales course. And their very first module, like the very first thing they even teach you is vision and understanding where you're going. So your vision, it should be clear. It should excite you. It should be doable, and it should serve others. That's from our course that we are taking. And this is another quote from the 12-week year. In order to achieve a level of performance that is greater than your current performance, you need a vision of your future that is bigger than your present. So if you want to exceed in your actions and show up better in your business as a person, you have to have a vision that's bigger than where you're standing. You have to be headed somewhere that is bigger than where we're sitting right now. That's the vision that keeps you showing up. That's the vision that drives your actions, and that's the vision that is leading your roadmap through your business. Sam, do you have anything to add up to this point?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know if you're gonna touch on this here in a minute, but so I've heard vision, like we always hear it, right? At the beginning of the year, especially, like think about what you want for this year, write your vision out, like you create a vision board. But here's the thing, like your vision, nobody else can do that for you. It's not going to look like anyone else here on this team. And I think the reason for the first time in like 2.5 years, probably my whole life, where I actually feel like, oh my goodness, I have a clear vision and I'm excited about vision, is because through the 12-week year and then this course we're taking, I realized like my vision has to have emotional connection. It has to deeply move me. And it does not start with a business goal. It does not start with a health and fitness goal. It starts with your life goal, like Ashton has already said. So you have to really get with the Lord. Like this took time for me. You guys, maybe some of you will walk away tonight feeling like, oh yeah, I have a clear vision of where I'm going. I just have to put it on paper. And then some of you are going to walk away like, all right, I put a few things down, but I really need to like pray about this and think about this. This took me time. It took a lot of time for me. A lot of brain dumping. It was messy. It was disorganized. I just had to like really feel, like get my emotions out there of what I wanted my life in general to look like. No barriers, no what ifs, no nothing. Just dump it out there. And when you can get that emotional piece behind your vision, that's when it begins to come to life. And then things flow from there, which I'm sure Ashton will get to.
I don't even know what's on the next slide, but I feel like it talks about that. So like Sam was saying, you really need an emotional connection to your vision. And we heard Julie Voris speak at the retreat. We watched a training from her. Her vision was her family was going to live at Disney World. Like that was her vision. It was clear. She knew what her house was going to look like. She knew what her yard was going to look like. She was going to see Disney from her front porch. She could see it, feel it, touch it, believe it. And that woman just moved to Disney World. Okay. Her family now lives at Disney World or next to it. I don't really know how that works, but you have to get so specific that you can see yourself standing in it. You can see yourself there, and you can see what your life looks like. So every morning when you wake up, you are driving toward that vision. And so what I've learned through a few different areas, but mainly the 12-week year and our course that we're taking, is your personal vision is a lot of different areas, and we're actually going to go through these areas tonight and kind of, like Sam said, really start just brain dumping. Like, what do we see? What do we like? What do we look at? And so we have spiritual, community, relationships, family, your health, your income, your business, your lifestyle. Like when I sat down and talked to the corporate mentor, he was like, what does your day look like in your vision? What do you set an alarm? Do you wake up early in the morning? Do you want to set an alarm? Like, What are your kids doing? Are kids in the picture? You know, you really have to start thinking about, what does your day look like? What does your family look like? What town do you live in? What home do you have? Vision is so specific that when you are able to lay it out, get it on paper, organize it, you know the person you want to become. You know the family you want your family to live, the life, everything. But it's all going to come down to these areas, which we're going to go through here in a bit. And again, you have to have an emotional connection to every piece of your vision. And it has to be, again, we go back to what I said in the beginning, doable, excitable, and serving others. Like, we can't be just self-centered with our vision and what we want, but how can we be our best, end up in this place where we want to go, so we can come to a place of serving and just sharing light and Jesus to the rest of the world, because we've arrived to our vision. And this is something that I can only imagine changes all the time. Like, once you're able to understand where you really want to go, you can start shaping goals around that vision. You can start shaping action steps around that vision. And as you start taking action and hitting goals along the way, I'm sure your vision grows and shapes and morphs as you go along. But what I've learned for myself is to keep showing up in this business and growing. I needed a vision right now of where I was headed. I can't see the chat, so let me know if I need to stop.
I got you.
And again, this is very interactive. So we're about to start walking through some of these areas. And I want you to like unmute if you have questions or feedback, or if this is something you've already thought through for yourself. And yeah, so spiritual. So what we learned in our direct sales group is, you think about a category. I want you to take your piece of paper and I want you to write down these 3 categories and then bullet points underneath. Just take notes as I'm talking to help trigger your mind at the end. But I want you to think through the woman who is in these areas, who you want to be. So in your spiritual life, how does she read the word? When does she read the word? How does she pray? What does her prayer life look like? This is your future self. If you can imagine where you're going, what your vision looks like, what does this look like for these areas? So your relationships, are you married? Do you have family? Where do y'all live? What does your house look like? Is there a dog? Is there 2 dogs? You know, I want you to really get specific on what is your relationship. And Sam can probably speak to this better because she's married, but what does your date nights look like? What does your time at home with your husband look like when the kids are asleep? Like, anything you can get so specific, that is your vision. And ultimately, our goal is, how can our business support that lifestyle? How can our business walk us toward this vision that we have for our lives? So for all of these categories, I want you to think of questions like, for your family, how big is your family? Where do you live? Do you travel? Do you go home to see your parents? How close to your parents do you live? All these things that could be important to you is going to help you shape and brain dump for your vision. I'm going to look at the chat. Okay. Next, write these 3 down. Income, lifestyle and community. Oh, that is supposed to be health, not healthy, and health. So for your health, what does your health journey look like? For mine, like, this is what my page looked like when I did this. Okay. I did exactly what y'all are doing. And for mine, it was like, I have a healthy gut now, because that's something I'm working on. I pick healthier food options more than I don't, because that's something I want to do. That's not something I do now, but that's my vision for my life. Getting up early, drinking my water, like, all of these things are things that I brain dump for the person that I want to be, the person that I want to drive my vision. And that way I could get it all on paper to shape the person that I want to be. So your lifestyle, your community, what is your community like in your neighborhood? If you're in the perfect neighborhood that you want to live in, where do your friends live? Do you travel with your friends? Do you have a community at church? Do you serve at church? Do you lead a small group? Are you in a women's group? All these things are things that you want to see so tangible for your vision of your life, that every morning when you wake up, you think about her and your actions drive you toward becoming her. And then ultimately you have your business. And the way my sheet is laid out is all the circles and they intertwine into your business. So every category we just laid out, our business can support those categories. How can we use our business to lead us toward the vision for our life? And that's what Sam was saying is when you really start thinking about your vision, for example, some women on this call, their vision is to stay home with their kids. Deep down in their souls, that is what they want to do. They want to be able to stay home with their kids, homeschool, whatever it is. Every morning when you wake up to do your tracker, you think about her, the mom who is at home with her kids, living this vision that you have described for yourself. And how can you use that business to support it? So when you're brain dumping for your business, are you a leader in the business? Are you someone who shows up and does a tracker every day? Are you someone who leads your own team and hosts team calls? Are you someone who hosts retreats and is able to take your team on retreats? Everything you can imagine brain dumping for this business is something that you have to get on paper and constantly asking yourself more questions to draw out more of that vision. Sam, anything to add with the categories?
No, I think you did a great job covering that.
And that's what I learned when I listened to the training on understanding and describing a vision is you just have to keep asking yourself more and more and more. Okay, if I stay home, what does my day look like? Okay, if I do have kids and I'm homeschooling, how do we structure our day? How do we have time for the park? When do we have fun? Like you constantly have to be asking yourself more questions in every single category until you know exactly who you are becoming and who you're driving towards.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have a personal success statement. So this is something that our training had us do, which is, in my opinion, taking your core values that is driving toward this vision. So it's not even saying, I am a stay-at-home mom who homeschools my children. It's more of your values, your heart, your core, that is a statement of this is the person I have pledged to be, which is driving me toward my vision. So like I said, who is the woman that you see when you see your vision that you wrote out in all of these categories? What are her core values? And you put that into a personal statement. So I went through this myself and I brain dumped my vision and I drafted a personal statement. I screenshotted it and I set it you probably can't see, but I set it as the background on my phone. So every time I open my phone, my personal statement is staring me in my face. I'll read you mine just to kind of give you an idea. Again, this is something that shapes, and I'm sure in 2 months, my personal mission statement might be different than it is now. But it currently says, I live boldly as the woman that God has called me to be by sharing the fruit of the Spirit with those around me. I lean into a life of joy, love, and self-control. I will not be swayed off mission by the world, but I will always live as I am set apart. I know where my feet are is where I am called to show up as my best self and make a difference. Your kingdom come, your will be done. And so that just shows that I feel like I'm a person who shows up in joy and light and love and wherever I currently am, because trust me, I'm in a lot of places right now. Wherever my feet are is where I am called to show up in that joy and light and love. And so we had, Sam, do you remember the mission statement of the girl on our training? I don't remember.
I'd have to go look at it real fast.
But hers was very centered. She had a life verse that she loved, and she centered her mission statement around showing up as the woman that God created her to be from her verse. So your mission statement or your success statement might be molded around a verse that you love as a life verse. But I want you to keep your vision in mind when you're writing this statement. And I want this statement to be something that you're reading, reviewing, and looking at every single morning. This is now part of your morning routine, FYI. As you can see at the bottom, write it out, put it somewhere you can read it every single morning.
So I actually, even with my vision, this was when Ashton and I were really trying to hold each other accountable to like putting action to our vision, like actually getting it out on paper. I voice memoed her my vision. I went through every category telling her like what I envisioned, and I just kind of spoke it. I mean, it's messy all over this paper, but I just kind of spoke it out to her. And it probably is like a 3 or 4 minute voice memo. And I saved it to my phone, and I have been listening to it every day. Not in a way to, uh, it's just a way for me to hear myself, like tell me my vision, what hold me anchored to it, and then pray over it too, because our vision is ever changing. So asking the Lord to anchor our hearts in this, but then also open it up to where he might be leading us differently. So that's been really huge for me because our purpose of vision, of life vision, it kind of funnels. Like we have our life vision, and that all trickles down into our daily actions. Because if we want to truly see our life vision happen, and I'm talking even people outside of this business, I think for the first time I feel confident like every person needs a life vision. Like they do, whether you have your own business or not. Because it really does trickle down to like, why are you doing these daily actions? So hearing yourself or reading it every day is huge.
And I agree with Sam. So when we're approaching this business, and again, this is nothing new. This is really just an aha moment that I have had more for accountability. Like I knew I needed to do it, but I never really truly did it like I should have to write out this vision. But you have your life vision. Who do you want to be? And you get bold and you get scary with it. Like you get deep and honest with who you want to be, excuses aside, any of that, and you write it down. And then you come up with your goals. What goals do I have to hit in my business that helps support me towards becoming the woman that I've pledged to be? And then you have your actions. What actions do you take every single day that lead up to those goals, and those goals build towards your vision? And so when you have a vision that you can smell, taste, breathe, sleep, want so badly, your goals become real and your actions become non-negotiable, because you have to take that action to constantly step and build toward the woman that you have envisioned yourself in becoming. So the whole purpose of this is to truly say, I have this vision for my life, for my family, for where I want to go. I'm building these goals because that is how I become that person. And I am pledging every day to show up, take the action to hit those goals, and continue to drive myself and my family towards that vision. It has to get so real. It has to get so deep that, like I said, your actions are completely non-negotiable because you want it so badly. And to become the person that we're truly called to be, that taking action is all we can do, if that makes sense. And so we also talked about in our training, I am statements. And I put on here, and she even said in our training, like, I am statements can get a little icky for people. And they're like, I am strong, I am capable. That is not what I'm talking about. I am talking about I am statements as I am the person who shows up as her. I am the person who sends 5 invites a day because that's what hits my goal. I am the person who finishes my tracker every day. I am the person who gets enough sleep because that's how I show up as my best self. I am the person who finishes a program that I started because I committed to it. I am statements are statements that should make you feel empowered to take action. And these I am statements are also something that you should read pretty regularly. So it's ingrained in your heart that I am a person who finishes a program. If you tell yourself every single morning, I am a person who finishes a program, you think you're going to let yourself quit if you're telling yourself that every single day? And like I said, I'm not talking about I am statements as these big self-reassuring situations. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you have to talk to yourself like you are the person that takes the action that drives towards these goals, that leans in towards this vision. So I want you to write out, when we're about to go through all of this, I want you to write out some I am statements that are action driven statements. I am someone who is joyful in sending connection invites. I am someone who enjoys getting on Instagram and responding to women who are in my DMs. Truly just speaking that we have this vision, we are on mission to reaching that vision, and I am the girl who shows up for the job. That's more so what I'm talking about with those I am statements. Does that make sense, Sam? Did I explain that well?
Yeah. And so this is my nurse brain, but I have to share it with you because I don't like the whole I am statements and the whole like positive affirmations. Like those are things I'm like, we shy away from. But my nurse brain, this clicked in for me. So part of the training, there was this podcast she had us listen to, and there were nuggets in there. I was like, just taking pieces of, but the science, huh?
The delete.
Yeah, the delete technique. So there's this technique called delete technique that this woman created, and she was on this podcast. And again, there's things in there I like left. I whatever. We have to filter some things. But the science, of what she was talking about was the neurologic pathways in our brain. Our brain doesn't decipher truth from lies. It just believes whatever you're going to tell it. Okay. So if you are constantly listening to self-limiting beliefs and negative thoughts, things that you might not even recognize anymore because they are just repeated over and over again, like even something like, I'm just never going to lose these last 5 pounds. Like your brain hears that. It can't tell if it's true or not. It just is like, yeah, I'm never going to lose those 5 pounds. I'm never going to lose those 5 pounds. And it just keeps saying it over and over again. But when you have a vision that like you are going to feel more energy, you're going to be more patient with your kids or whatever, like losing those 5 pounds, if you can connect that to the vision of who you will be without those 5 pounds, and then you tell yourself, I am going to lose those 5 pounds. Your brain starts making different connections. It starts making different pathways. It stops following those lies. And to me, that just made sense. And yeah, so I made some I am statements that obviously are Christ-centered, that are not just like fluffy, whatever. They have meaning towards my vision. They're helping me to get those lies out and shift my thinking so that that my vision is not just something on paper, and that I'm like, yeah, that would be great someday if that came to life, but it's actually something I believe the Lord will lead me to. So it was really interesting.
And it is powerful. This is something that Sam and I have started doing every day. And y'all, you tell me you don't show up different with your tracker when you have a clear vision of where you're headed and you're believing who you are. Like it has changed the game. I can't read the, oh, here we go. So your I am statements and your vision should be read over every day to remind yourself of where you're headed. This is what will drive your daily actions. I like this one at the bottom. This is from the 12-week year. Vision provides the motivation to act, but a vision without action is just a dream. Constant actions turn dreams into reality. So the whole takeaway from what we're trying to say here, and I don't even know how many more slides I have. I think I'm almost done. The whole takeaway is your goal is to see where you're headed in your life. Take body out of it. Where are you headed in life? Where's your family headed? Where's your faith headed? Where is so specific. You can see it, believe it, touch it, smell it, everything about it. You have so deep in your gut that when you set goals, when you set short-term goals and long-term goals, they do nothing but drive you toward that vision. And when you wake up in the morning, you read that vision of where you're going, you can feel it. You believe you are the person for the job to show up every day to walk toward that vision and you take action. That is the whole goal, is to get so deep and so real with yourself as to where you're headed that action becomes just a part of life, because we have such a real sense of where we're headed that it's not an option. I don't know if I have, okay. So I don't have any slides left. Any questions before we even start? Like, I'm gonna make y'all brain dump for your vision here, because some of us, it's fun to chat about and think about, but we got to actually do it. And that was the piece of accountability that I needed through some of this trainings that I've been doing. So any questions up to this point, go ahead and unmute or whatever. Or, okay, I want interaction. So y'all sorry, I'm like clicking I forgot I'm sharing my screen. Y'all tell me, is this new? Is this something you have done? Is this something kind of like me? Like, you heard you need a vision, you need a mission statement, but you never really did it? Like, where are y'all at on the spectrum? I want to hear that.
I just really like the way that you worded things and that you gave us like practical steps. Like, okay, this is what you do. Like Kirby just said, I think this needs to be added to the body onboarding, like partner onboarding.
Yeah.
Because I think it really just, I don't know. It was just really good. Y'all did awesome.
Let me tell you. Oh,
we ain't done yet.
Yeah. Let me tell you, like, so I think what drove me towards this, I needed this, because I was just floundering. It felt like from month to month, I would be like really excited about something, and then something would happen, and I'm like, or maybe I missed a goal, or maybe I just like, I didn't show up the way I wanted to, or so, whatever it was, something just didn't go right. And I was just discouraged and felt like questioning everything. Kirby can attest to this. I like went to Kirby Ashton. I'm like, what's going on? And truly, truly, what it was is like, why am I even here? What am I passionate about? What is the vision? Because I never thought ever I would step away from bedside nursing, and I definitely never saw myself as a stay-at-home mom. How did God lead me here, and why am I passionate about being like staying here now, right? So I do think that that's what is going to hold us to where the Lord has us specifically, when we can have clear vision of that.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. And not only sticking with it, but stewarding it well. And we're going to steward it well. This is a gift. I have to remind myself all of the time, like, the Lord is trusting me with this. He doesn't need me. He's offering it to me and allowing me to enjoy the ride to get to show up in this business. And when you can be, I think Ashley said it earlier, like, deeply rooted into why you're here and where you're headed, that's where the secret sauce is. Like, that's where you separate people who are successful and people who are floundering, like Sam said. Like, this is it, y'all. And if you're wondering, where do you lean in? It's your vision and your actions. Like, that's where you got to get real. You got to get serious. You got to pray about it. You got to have the Lord to give you fresh, clear vision on what's going on. So I'm going to quit talking because I want y'all to brain dump, but we're going to take 10 minutes and then we're going to be done for the night. But this is a time where I'm going to hold you accountable. I hope you wrote down, I'll share my screen again for those different buckets. I want you to take each bucket and just brain dump. Think through it. What does she look like? What does she wear? What does she, are you someone who likes to get dressed up for the day? Are you someone who likes to stay comfortable for the day? Think through everything you can imagine for your vision. What people do you interact with? Where do you interact with people? Where are you able to serve? Where are you able to give? What kind of finances do you have so you're able to serve and give? I want you to think of everything. This is just getting yourself started. And then you're able to take this brain dump, pray about it, talk to your husband, talk to the Lord, and really shape it into a true vision and a true vision for your life. So I'm going to share my screen, maybe, I hope, to go back to the buckets. These are your buckets. And I want you to take 10 minutes and just brain dump around them and anything and everything, bullet points, one words, whatever you can, just to get your mind moving toward what a vision looks like. And unmute yourself, ask questions, whatever you got. And go. We've got about 5 minutes left, but if you want to start throwing some just statements or lines out about things you've been brainstorming, it might help spark some other girls' stuff if there's anything you want to share.
Mine are mostly be a good mom, set a good example, lead by example, pour into others, maybe have less anxiety. That'd be cool.
I love that.
And then I don't know if you can hear my son making his helicopter noise in the background. I'm gonna go back on mute.
I was going to share really quick. I said this earlier, but first of all, this was amazing. I texted Ashton and told her it was so good. But I just wanted to say, like, this is something that I did back in 2018, at the end of 2018. And Dave Ramsey has a really amazing book called Entre Leadership. And he talks a lot about vision in that book and like being an owner of like what you're doing. And there's something called the Cultivate What Matters sheets. They're really awesome for this. If you ever want like a tool to help you, it's more for like the beginning of the year. But anyways, my whole point was this literally, when I sat down and did this, it was like in the fall. And I just remember looking out the window and like Brian was like tilling up the yard and planting seeds. And I was thinking about like being deeply rooted and how like I needed to have a plan and a vision for my business. But that next year is the year that I went elite for the first time. Well, actually, yeah, elite for the first time and ended that year as premier. And so this is a game changer when you do this and you like really cast a vision for what you want your life to be like. I think a lot of times in this business, we see people who like, if personally for me, at least when I sat down in 2018, like, and did that, a lot of the people I saw in the business were like, they like wanted, like I would see their vision boards or things like that. And it'd be like a bigger house, a boat, you know, all these things. And that was not a vision for me. Like those were not things that like motivated me. Like time and memories and being financially free, like those were things that motivated me. And so I think when you start to realize, like, honestly, recognition doesn't really motivate me. Like all of those things, shiny stuff just really doesn't. And I'm not saying that way of like, woe is me. Everybody's just wired differently. Some people love gifts. Some people love recognition. Like everybody's different. For me, it's like, I get motivated whenever I'm like, okay, we can go to Target and I don't have to like stress about what I just spent money on for my kids, or you know what I mean? Like, or I can go get them the cute little matching outfits for Christmas and, you know, like it brings me joy. It makes me happy. And so that might sound silly, but when you start to like do this and really make it connected to what motivates you, I just think that like, we're all here to serve people because we want to help people get fit and healthy, but also like it is motivating to make it something bigger than this little side thing that you do when it becomes a bigger vision, you know? So I just wanted to say all that to say this was awesome and it's a game changer and everybody should jump on board and do it.
Like I said, Caroline's been telling me this for 2 years, and I finally got to the point where I was like, I don't know.
Somebody else has to say it sometimes. You know what I'm saying? We all need like 20 people to tell. This is why, like, when we're like, oh, I'm just going to give up after I invite someone one time or mention something to someone one time, like, you have to hear it. Like, we're all planting little seeds, and, you know.
Yeah.
So.
And
I think too, sorry, can I
oh,
say
go ahead.
I think too, it matters who's speaking life into you, because for me, I am my biggest critic. And like there's just doubt all the time, like coming into my brain. So like even like I wrote down my visions and I was like, I'm able through Jesus to stay on my nutrition and my, you know, programs. I'm able through Jesus to lead my team well. I'm able through Jesus to be the wife and mom that God's calling me to be. So like those are going to be my affirmations, because I'm like,
Yes.
yeah. Because
like
I struggle so much. And it was my mom and dad, because when they were here, they were like always down talking themselves. And Joel was like, that's where you got it. He's like, why are you so negative towards yourself? And I'm like, oh my lands, I have to change that, because I don't want my kids to be that way. So anyway.
And just like Sam was saying, like it's truly rewiring our brains. I don't know if y'all read the book by Craig Groeschel. Somebody help me. winning the war with your mind. Is that what it's called? Yeah, winning the war with your mind. It's this, he talks about the neural pathways and what gets embedded, and you and the Lord have got to retrain your brain. And just having those I am statements, Ashley, you will see a change in your heart by reading those over yourself every morning. Like showing up with your tracker changes when you truly have a vision of where you're going and you believe the person that you were showing up as. It changes, y'all. It does. So I hope this started the wheels turning. Definitely, like Sam says, this is a process to even understand what your vision is or where you're headed. But this is something I hope started the wheels turning. I hope understanding that this is bigger than your business. Like, this is your life. What do you want from life? What freedoms do you want in this life? And I hope that you continue to look at this paper that you're brainstorming and make it into sense, make it into statements, make it into a whole package vision. Pray over it, hold the binder in your bed and sleep on it. Like, I want this to be real, tangible, and exciting for all of you.
And tell somebody about it. I don't care if it's your husband, your upline, a friend on this page, your coach, somebody. You need to tell somebody it, because if you only keep it to yourself, there is no accountability. You can talk yourself right out of it. And this is like, I have been processing through this. Caroline said it took her 2 months to figure this out on paper. It took me a long time to process over this and pray over it. And I've even talked to Najoni about this. Like, I never really felt like I could like figure out what vision looked like for my life. So it takes time, and be patient, but yes, tell somebody it.
Yeah. Any questions or last comments while we're all together? So if you need help brainstorming, and I'll share these slides too, to help spark some thoughts. Any random questions while you got us all on here? All right. Well, I want to take a boomerang because I haven't led a team call in a hot minute. So I'm going to document it.
Ashton, can I say something about your exciting news?
Oh, yes, you can.
Well, no, she's not engaged, for anybody who's
Oh,
thinking
not
that's what it is.
engaged.
Not yet. But Ashton got a new job, and we're so proud of her. That is such a big deal. This is like a huge, huge promotion for her.
Very
And
scary.
so I just wanted to give you like a public on their team call. Congratulations. It's such a big deal. And so I want to say this too. I feel like there are so many people on this team who have the goal of like staying home with their kids or whatever. But like, if your vision is that you freaking love your job and you just like want to do this as a side thing to help you like feel better and care for your body and help some people and shine Jesus, like it can look a million different ways. And I was chatting with some girls today. I feel like so many girls on this call and just on our call today minimize their vision and what God has called them to here. And you should never apologize because you don't have some big success club goal or some big business goal. Like, I don't want everybody on this call to stop apologizing, because your calling and your vision is just as important as anybody else's. And so I just like wanted to say all that to say congratulations, Ashton, but then I got that thinking about that as well, and that kind of sparked something. But I just wanted to tell you congratulations, and I'm so proud of you and excited for you.
Thank you. I'm gonna need a lot of prayers, y'all, to keep up with it all. But no, it's great. It is exciting, and it's a huge opportunity that I never ever brought to myself. So it's strictly all the Lord. So I'm excited to see what He does through it. But okay, I want to take a boomerang, and then I'll close this in prayer. I want everybody to do something fun. Okay, let's make this a fun one. In 3, 2, everybody's popping on 3, 2, 1, let's go. That's what I do when I teach classes. Sorry, I just taught 2 classes, so it makes me hype. Okay, let me close this in prayer to just pray over our week. And then we're gonna be vision planning, y'all. This is team assignment. Everybody's in it. Okay. Lord, I just come to you tonight, thankful, God, that I was able to just focus on these girls and just leaning in together, Lord. I pray, God, for fresh vision for every girl who can hear my voice, God. I pray that you will just stir something in our hearts. Drive our feet, drive our minds, drive our hearts, Lord, towards the vision that you have planned for us. God, you uniquely made every single one of us with a calling and a purpose in mind. And I pray, God, that you would continue to put that on our hearts, continue to fill our hearts with your plan, your will, your kingdom come in our lives, Lord. We thank you, God, that you don't need us, but you choose to use us. You trust us with this business. You trust us with this life that you've given us. It is so precious, Lord, and we just want to show up as the best versions of ourselves to steward what you've given us well. We want to serve, we want to love, we want to share light, God, but ultimately, we want to point people back to you. We want to be a person in someone's life, Lord, that they see something is different. They see that there is vision and something driving them, Lord, so we can ultimately tell them that it's you. So I just pray, God, as these girls are thinking through, like Caroline said, don't let them minimize their vision and their calling, Lord. Help them be bold. Help them to boldly believe and dream and be inspired for what they can do in this life and through this business, Lord. So I pray over that. I pray over, Lord, self-discipline for us to continue to lean into building that vision and driving toward it, and not to just think about it, move on, and let it be swept under the rug. But let us be bold. Let us be women who pledge to be the woman you've called us to be, to show up as that woman day in and day out to the best of our abilities, Lord, and to walk toward that vision boldly. So I pray for these girls, God. I pray a blessing over their week. I thank you for this opportunity to speak with them. In your precious name, I pray. Amen.
Amen. Thanks, Ashton.
Mwah. Let's go to bed.
See you in the morning, guys.
In the morning.
On, I have to finish my tracker.
Ashley, I'm staying on to finish mine if you want to stay on a minute.
Okay, sounds good.